Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel eddieinreadingland. My name is Eddie and today I'm bringing you a hashtag. It's the 54321 decks by Waves of Your Soul. So I actually came across this hashtag on my feed when I was watching some YouTube videos. And actually, I was watching TarotTube, and I think that's the reason why this one showed up. But I thought it was Kelly Bear's tag that I had made, and I think I ignored it. But then I was like, wait a minute, no, it's not. It's Dex. That sounds different. So and I did pull on the video, and it was a different tag altogether. So and I finally was able to find out who was the person who did it. And it seems to be an older tag that I had no idea. I've never seen it before, but I ended up watching a lot of videos. One of them was Levy's from, oh God, I forget their channel name. Anyway, I'll have a link in the description down below because I did watch their video, and I also watched another one. Well, I watched many of them, but Levy's is though I regularly watch their videos, so I really like them. But yeah, no, I watched the original for this as well, and of course I forgot her name, but it is by Waves of the Soul. But let's get started. So it's the first prompt is 5 decks that made me fall in love with reading the cards. This was incredibly easy for me because those decks, and you guys are probably gonna know what these decks are, but I am gonna give these decks to you in order of how I acquire them. The first deck that I'm going to show you is the Tot Tarot by Aleister Crowley and painted by the amazing Lady Frida Harris. This was the first deck that I got. My mom purchased, well, this is not the original one. I actually purchased this. Actually, I think well, later on. Way later on, and my original copy is just so battered. But this was the tarot that actually made me like the imagery and made me see that there was something outside of the Rider-Waite-Smith. And even though this is maybe it's not a completely different system, but it's a system that differs from the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's just so much more enjoyable. The art is way better for me, and I align better with the art style than I do with the Rider-Waite-Smith. And even though there's still some religious imagery in the deck, like for example in this Hierophant, there's a lot more occult symbolism, and there's a lot more here than just the religious aspect of a Hierophant, which is something that I do not align with. And I just love it. And also, the other thing that I like about the Tot Tarot is that the cards seem more expressionistic, and they have a sort of abstract feel to them. And I very much enjoy that as well. I like art that makes me wonder. But yeah, this is the first deck, the Tot Tarot. And then the second deck that I acquired, and this one I actually bought for myself, was, and you guys know this was coming, the Shadowscape Tarot by Stephanie Pui Moonlaw. And this is my favorite deck. I don't have to say anything about this deck because you guys already know that I just love this deck. And you also guys know that the main complaint that I have, I actually read with this deck a lot too. The main complaint that I have with this deck is that it is way too small, and that I wish that it would be larger. Even though I have small hands, and this is an appropriate size of a deck for me, I wish that this deck would be larger. I'm hoping that Llewellyn will listen, and they'll give us this deck. This is an amazing 8 of Wands. I love this. Will give us this deck in a larger print, and also in limited cardstock. That would be amazing. Maybe just a limited edition, guys. Come on, Llewellyn. Listen to us. I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one who actually wants this from the Shadowscape Tarot. But yeah, this is my favorite deck. I love this deck. This was the first deck that I purchased. And this was the deck that I used when I started reading about the Rider-Waite-Smith system, because it aligns incredibly well with the symbology and the art style obviously aligns better with me. This is extremely beautiful. This is inordinately colorful. It's also fantastic, and it has its own elongated aesthetic that I really, really enjoy. You can see that elongation that I'm talking about here in this hermit. It just feels so elegant. I really, really like this. But yeah, moving on from the Shadowscapes Tarot, we are coming into, and this will be, again, no surprise to nobody, and that is the Mary L. Tarot by Marie White. And here we have the cards. And let me just pull them out. And here we go. Love this deck. This deck could have been also part of a later prompt for this hashtag, but this deck was the first study deck that I got, and it made me just fall even more in love with divination and tarot cards. Oh god, it's this moon card. It's just so beautiful. This and the wolves is just so amazing. The meanings behind the guidebook, the Landscapes of the Abyss by Marie White is also an amazing, amazing read. I don't think that, I don't think that we should read the Mary L. Tarot without reading the guidebook. And I know that some of us do read tarot intuitively, and I'm pretty sure that this is a great intuitive deck to read. But just reading about the cards and the reasons why these cards are the way that they are and how they are depicted, it's just such an amazing accomplishment by Marie White. And I know it took her about like 10 years to actually finish this deck. So, and I think these are oil paintings, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, no, this made me fall in love with tarot, because even though I had always been studious about tarot, and I still am actually, this was my first opportunity to actually get in deep with a deck that was made to actually be studied, because it was doing its own thing within the structure of tarot. And I think that Marie White did just an amazing job with this deck. I very much love this. This is also a deck that I only use for myself. I never use this deck for others. And but this is just stunning to me. This is very out of the box, and it completely makes sense to me when you read the guidebook, when you read Landscapes of the Abyss. But this is also one of the reasons why I feel like artists should definitely write their own guidebook. Even just talking about the art would be fine. I'm not saying that there's something like this should be done, like what Marie White does, or what Sia Hunt does, for example, or what Benabel Wen does. These are just it's just something that I feel like needs to be, the artists need to talk about their art and why they chose that. But as in any case, moving on, these are the cloud cards, and I think that you guys knew that these were going to make an appearance, because these are just so nostalgic for me, and I really, really love them. My husband actually was the one who bought these for me. I had a cheaper version of these cards when I was back in Costa Rica, but the cards were so bad, and they didn't look like this. I mean, these are incredibly thick cards, and they have very little bend, and I love that. They are quite long, as you guys can see. They're almost as long as my hand. So, but the reason why the cloud cards made me fall in love with readings is because this is the first time that I was able to use an oracle deck. And even though this is my second deck from the cloud cards in this is the original. Yeah, it's from the original brand. The original brand. This was my first Oracle deck. This was the first deck that I used exclusively, intuitively, without any structure. Now, I do relate this deck to the anime in the episode where they are featured, but I bring a much more of my intuition and my experience into this deck than I do any other deck, because as you can see, the cards don't really have a keyword. This is the twin card, and then you are just deliciously forced to add meaning to this card and what the twins, what does the word twin bring out from you? What are you thinking when you think of twins? Duplicity, multiplication, maybe something that is hidden, right? So it just triggers my intuition, and I really enjoy that. Not to mention that the art is just stunning. Clamp made a fantastic job with each one of these cards, and I am so happy that I was able to get the original cards. Well, actually, I didn't get them. My husband did, but yeah, I've been using the cloud cards since they got released the first time. I unfortunately got a counterfeit deck. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that on YouTube. But it was all I could afford at that time. And I'm so happy that I am able to have now the original cards over here. But yeah, these are the cloud cards. And the last deck that I'm going to show you for this prompt, guys, is, and I'm pretty sure that nobody is going to be surprised about this either, and that is the Children of Letha Tarot by the amazing, the incomparable, the just fantastic Sia Hunt. Oh, there I am. And this is the first deck that I got, guys, that was actually themed. And by that I mean the Children of Letha Tarot is an animal deck. And as you guys can see, Sia played very well with animal-human hybrids, especially for the majors. Actually, I believe most of the majors are animal-human hybrids like this one, like here in the Emperor. And here we have the Minotaur for the Hierophant, which is most appropriate. Here we have the beautiful Four of Cups with the Manta Ray. Just so... Whew, this is so good. So yeah, this is the first themed deck that I got. I didn't own one before this one, and I'm so happy that I was able to come across this deck. I don't remember how or why I came across this deck, but whatever that reason was, I am extremely happy that it happened, because it made me realize that I'm able to work with themed decks, and not only that, it made me fall in love with Sia's beautiful artwork and how intellectual her art is, which is something that I do with my art too. Maybe fortunately, maybe unfortunately for some people, but it's just, to me, it works and it makes sense. There is a purpose. Not that I'm saying that art isn't purposeless or purposeful. What is the right word? But incredibly thankful that I got the summer deck from Sia Hunt. And look at this Eight of Cups, guys. Doesn't this just say escapism? I mean, it's... Yes. She is incredibly talented. Inordinately talented. But yes, here is the Children of Letha Tarot by Sia Hunt. Who I want to meet sometimes. At some point in my life, I will meet her, because she's in California and I'm in Arizona, and I'm hoping that that's going to happen for me. Manifesting. Okay, prompt number 4. Decks that challenge me either positively or negatively. Now, the decks that I will show you are, they all have challenged me positively. I don't tend to keep decks that challenge me negatively, not because I can't take the challenge, but I guess I'm reading negatively as in disturbing or unable to work with. And I think that that's a wrong interpretation. But as in any case, here's the new Choice Tarot de Marseille by Rosario Salerno. Now, if you guys watch my channel for a little while, you guys know that I don't like Marseille decks. Actually, I don't like the Rider-Waite Smith deck at all either. So this is my first and only Marseille deck that I own. Because this is the only Marseille art deck that I absolutely love, and not to mention that it's queer, and that is just awesome. Rosario made an amazing job creating this deck. I mean, to the point where I like it, and I do not like Marseille decks, but this one I like. The thing is that this deck seemed, or not seemed, I know that it's actually very purposeful, because Rosario, he talked about the reason why the flowers are here and what they represent, and I know that he took really good care deciding what went into the tarot. So very much love that. I love the florals, and I love that instead of this looks like a lot like arabesque, but it also isn't. So I find it extremely creative, and also it challenged me, because this is the first time that I was confronted with pips without any scene on it or a sort of feeling to them. And I was inordinately pleased and so inspired when I used this deck back in, this was for Pride Month. So like I said, I intellectualized that art, not only art, but everything else. And this gave me the perfect opportunity to use the pips as element plus numerology. So I was incredibly happy. I was very much enthralled and enjoying the process of reading with this deck. It was awesome. I really love this. And not to mention that the art does feel inspired by Marseille decks, but Rosario did his own thing, and I very much just love it to pieces. I'm hoping that he makes another deck. I'm not really sure. Maybe he can make a top tarot deck. That would be fun. I'm sure that Rosario is able to do something like that. And the next deck that I'm going to show you is this one that's in this little baggie. One of my friends made this baggie for me. She's from Hungary, and this is where I decided to store the Hidden Waters Tarot by Anatolian, who is also a fantastic artist. I really love most of her decks. I also have Tarot of the Abyss, but the one that I'm showing you guys here is the Hidden Waters Tarot. This deck challenged me because this is the first time that I was confronted with truly abstract imagery for the tarot. And like the Rorschach test. German is really difficult for me, guys. We are using the imagery to it's quick. It's a quick glance at it. What are we seeing? And it just made my practice even more. It added another layer to my practice that I really like, because this tarot gave me the opportunity to read the cards in a very unexpected way, sometimes out of the structure of tarot, just depending on what I was seeing at a quick glance with the card. When I journal with this deck, it has 4 additional cards. When I journal with this deck, I usually put the name of the card, and I write down what I'm seeing, and then I start writing from that. That's how I read with this deck. Now, I almost once read for another person using this deck, but I decided not to because honestly, I got scared. Yeah, that's the honest truth. I got scared, and I ended up not using this deck. But now, years later, I am very curious to see how this reads for others, and I should have it available immediately for me so I can do that. But I do not. It sits on my bookshelf just waiting for me to use it for journaling when it's scheduled for use. But yeah, this is the Hidden Waters Tarot. This was the tarot that gave me the opportunity to really move away from the structure of tarot when I needed it, if I needed it, especially with the different aspect that I was seeing in the card. So it's definitely a challenging deck, and I know that it's not for a lot of people. Most of the comments that I got or that I've read from this tarot is that people get really confused, and I understand that, but it was a great opportunity for me. It was a great challenge for me. It still is whenever I use it, but I really enjoy it. The next deck is the Ocean Dry Tarot, and this is by Colin Campbell. Now, the reason why this deck, whoops, we got one more. The reason why this deck is challenging, or was challenging at first, and to be honest, I got over it really quickly when I started using the Ocean Dry Tarot, is because, and thankfully I have it in order. Yes, I do. The majors, the numerology doesn't match the usual Fool's Journey. This is not the Fool's Journey. This is the Luminary's Journey, or the Sun Journey. And we have here the Sun as 0, and then we move on to the Emperor, and then to the Hierophant, and then we see the Fool as number 3. Now, yes, honestly, that was a little off-putting the first time that you used the deck, but again, I tend to intellectualize a lot, so I started relating the numerology, what I know of numerology, with the theme of, for example, here, the Lovers. And I remember, so let me give you an example. So the number 4 is the number of structure, and it's also the number of order. And so with the Lovers, and the theme in the Lovers being communication, well, in my case, I interpreted the Lovers as communication, or not communication, I'm sorry, connection. So when I think about structure and connection, I start thinking, well, how are we able to organize better with our relationships? How can we organize our relationships so that we are compatible with each other and we avoid any issues? That's an example, for example, with the Lovers. So the other thing that I would say as well, since the 4 is a number of structure, is how good of a foundation does my relationships have? What relationships am I looking at right now that may not have the right connection for me and that I need to let go, for example? And that's usually how I did it. And I did that with all of the majors because the pips actually are pretty cool. Here we have the King, but I wanted to show you. There we go. Here we have the 3. And yes, we are working with a very limited palette for the deck. I believe that the colors that were used were only 12 colors, if I remember correctly. But these, I mean, the placement of the wands or the pips, and it's just so good. The color, just the color symbolism is just so amazing. I very, very much enjoyed using this deck. And true, yeah, I did get pips more than I got majors when I was using this deck. But I mean, just with the colors, you can tell a lot, and I really enjoy that. Here's the Two of Swords. So good. Just such a burst of color. I love it. Here's the Three of Swords. An amazing deck. Who knew that a limited palette and numerology and structural change would actually be beneficial for tarot practice? Can't complain. But yes, it was challenging at first to use. Not going to lie, but like I said, it was really easy for me to just shift my perspective and accept the fact that, you know, it's not the usual tarot structure that we are used to. And the last one that I wanted to show you is the Nameless One by, again, Sia Hunt. And this deck challenged me because, and this deck actually did challenge me because, and I will show you the cards. Well, first of all, the deck is massive. Like, massive, guys. This deck is so chunky, but I love it. The deck comes also with oracle cards that I left on the deck so that, you know, I can use them. And this is one of those oracle cards. This is another one of those oracle cards. Let me see if I can get one that's not an oracle card. But as, okay, this is, okay, here we go. Here's the Four of Pentacles, and as you guys can see, we can determine that it's a Four of Pentacles by counting the pentacles over here, but also by counting the dots inside the sigil, and by determining that this is Earth. And the other good thing about this, wait, is this upside down? Let me see. No, it isn't. No, it's right side up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, it is right side up. This deck was challenged because, as you guys can see, this deck doesn't have any names on it. So it's easier with the pips to determine what card it is. Actually, it's really easy with the pips to determine what card it is. But for the majors, you do have to get used to knowing what are the majors. So, for example, this is another one of those oracle cards. This is the Jester of, I believe, Wands, or in this case, they're branches. But yes, this is the Jester of Fire. The core cards are masks. There is, I think that this is one of those decks that you really do need to study. Not to mention that each one of these cards has a different sigil, as you guys can see. All of the sigils change, and here's the sigil. Here's the alchemical symbol for water, and this is the Seven of Cups. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, and there's a lot of thought that was put into this deck, and it's a very long, very arduous read, but it's just so fascinating, guys. And not to mention that this deck has individual sigils for each of the cards, but they also come with affirmations. This was the deck that made me be convinced that affirmations, carrying affirmations throughout the day, does work. Unfortunately, I was a bit pessimistic about affirmations. This is a strength card. Oh, here's a major. This is a strength card. I think that it's easier to pick up that it's a strength card because of the lion. But some of the symbology for the other majors changed quite radically, and outside of the just the Rider-Waite's myth system. So, but yeah, here we have the sigil for strength. And this deck is just also so beautiful, and I love the minimal use of color for each card. That is just amazing. There's also color symbology used for this deck as well. Sia goes into all that in her big chunky grimoire that I very much love. But yeah, this deck challenged me because I had to get used to using the deck without names, and I had to get used to looking up things in the guidebook because I just didn't know. And I can't memorize 100 and I don't even know how many cards are here. 109, 110 affirmations that come for each of these cards. It's impossible for me to do that. So yes, the exploration with this deck was amazing. The time that I used it, I do feel like this deck also tends to go to the shadow side. Which is fine with me. I really much enjoy that. But yeah, here we have another core card, and this is the Mask of Pisces. If I am not mistaken. Yes, there we go, because I see the Pisces sigil over here. Very, very, very beautiful. Here's the Three of Swords. Yep. But moving on from this, I think we're jumping into the next prompt. Prompt number 3, and that is 3 decks I would recommend to anyone. This was also incredibly easy, and actually I could have used the Shadowscape Tarot for this one, but I decided to show you guys 3 different new decks. And the first one would be the White Newman Tarot by Alba Ballesta Gonzalez. I'm sorry, not Garcia, Gonzalez. And the reason why I would recommend this to anyone, it's because not only is it a mass market, actually, all of the decks that I'm going to show you for as recommendations, they are mass market decks. And, oh, here we go. I like the White Newman Tarot because it is Rider-Waite-Smith based, but there's a lot of diversity in this deck, and it also deviates a little from the typical illustrations. Well, actually, not very much with this Ace of Cups, but for some of the cards, the illustrations are a bit different. Here we have the Queen of Swords, and not only that, it usually just features women in it, and we also feature their different colors, different skin colors. We have different body types. We have, I believe that this tarot could also be queer. I think that the creator themselves is queer. I'm not really sure about that, but I know they are Latinx. And well, see, this is a good example of what I'm saying. You're not seeing like typical like skinny beautiful person here. We're seeing different bodies, we're seeing different skin tones, and I really very much that. But we are definitely seeing a Three of Cups scene over here. It's a celebration, and we know that they're celebrating. So it doesn't deviate a lot from the original Rider-Waite-Smith. And it's just very easy to pick up the meanings of it. So that's why I would recommend this one. Actually, most of these decks I would recommend if you don't like the Rider-Waite-Smith depictions. This is a good deck for that, and the other one as well. Here we have the High Priestess, and as you can see, we can still see an homage to the Rider-Waite-Smith, but obviously it was Alba's illustration that it's so good. This High Priestess, I really love this High Priestess, but it does deviate from the Rider-Waite-Smith a little. This is the Devil that deviates a lot from the Rider-Waite-Smith, and I'm very thankful because I don't like that Devil at all. But you can still pick up how this person could be the Devil, right? And so on and so forth with the other cards. Very much love this deck. I love using it for readings for others as well. It's really precise. And the next one is the Star Spinner's Tarot by Trungles. And this one also follows the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition. and it does deviate somehow, a bit from the Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, this is the Death card, and obviously we're not seeing the skeletal armored knight carrying the flag person over here. We're seeing this. This is one of my favorite depictions of the Death card. It's just such a play of life and death here that I really much enjoy. Here we have the 4. This is also a very queer deck, and it's also a storytelling deck. We see a lot of fairies. We see a lot of fairy tales that are being depicted in the illustrations in the cards. The chalices mostly follows the story of the Little Mermaid, but then we see the karasu from Japanese mythology, and this is the 3-legged crow. They play important parts in Japanese mythology, guys. But I think Trungles also use other Asian myths for the cards. I know that they did use the dragon and the pearl myth from ancient China. But as you can see, this is a very typical 2 of Pentacles. We have the person who is balancing the pentacles, and we see the ships in the background as well. This deck also has different lovers cards. They actually has 4 different lovers cards, but I chose the one that depicts the 2 men. I also like that these cards are very colorful, and it seems to be an easy read for most of us, because of the same reason. It's Rider-Waite-Smith enough that it's not difficult to read, and it reads inordinately well for others as well. I think it's because of the storytelling aspect of it, but yeah, I very much like using the Star Spinner Tarot. This is one of those decks that I have already lined up for next year to be used. I very much enjoy that. And the last one that I'm going to show you guys on this front is the Mystical Manga Tarot. Now, this is the most, or the closest tarot that I have that doesn't differ from the doesn't differ a lot from the Rider-Waite-Smith. This is super easy to relate to the original Rider-Waite-Smith. People call these, or this type of deck, a clone, but I just think it's a re-imaging of the deck. And they did very, 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 very beautiful job with this deck, especially with the anime. With the manga aspect of it. It's just very well done. But as you guys can see, it's the Rider-Waite-Smith scenes on the pips and most of the majors as well. But here we go. Here's the queen. Here's the court cards. This is exactly what the king looks like as well. Hopefully we'll get to see it, but very easy to. Here's the Page of Cups. Very easy to pick up. It differs absolutely minimally from the Rider-Waite-Smith system. It's just the art is better, in my opinion. The Mystical Manga Tarot is just way better drawn than the original Rider-Waite-Smith. And it's probably because I do like manga and I do like anime. And I think this is the only anime manga deck that I have. Oh, is it? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, there we go. But as you guys can see, here's the Emperor that deviates a little bit from what we're usually used to see, not to mention that this is a very young Emperor versus a very old Emperor in the Rider-Waite-Smith. But here we have Another good example. I just very much love this deck, and I love how colorful it is, and I love how the fantasy aspect of it as well. It's pretty cool. Instead of a dance, we're seeing a marriage here, but it's basically the same thing. Well, maybe not the same thing, but it's the same sort of message is being delivered. Yeah, very much enjoy using the Mystical Manga Tarot. This is also an excellent reader for others, and the other good thing about this deck is that it's not very scary. The scarier cards are not very scary, but then again, that is my opinion. Okay, moving on to prompt number 2, and it's 2 decks I feel like they were made for me. Okay, so, sorry. Those 2 decks are the Lepus Tarot by Witchy Cauldron and art by Artem Chernovy. The reason why I feel like this deck was made for me is because this deck basically encompasses a lot of the tarot, and you throw in determinism in here. And it's just so different. It's so crazy. It's so surreal. We have all of these are different hairs, and they're in these very surreal situations that they find themselves, and it's also poking fun at the tarot while also being an homage to tarot. It is just so well done. So well done. I enjoy reading with this deck a lot. I haven't read with others, 2 others using this deck. But look at this Sun card. I mean, oh my god, it's just so good. I love it. I am also a fan of hares more than I am rabbits, even though rabbits show more on my art for some reason than hares. That's something that I'm gonna have to explore better. But I mean, look at this. This is the Judgment card. It's just so good. I love it so much. It's a very unusual tarot deck, and I believe that Artem Chernovy was definitely inspired by surrealism and surrealist art, like, for example, that of Dali, Salvador Dali, to create this deck. But he definitely has his own aesthetic. Oh my god, this is so good. I really enjoy it. I mean, look at these. This is a 2 of Cups, guys. Yeah, this deck is. I mean, look at this hair playing with fire in the Ace of Wands. It's just scrumptious. I very, very, very much love this. Very much love this. But I will keep talking about this deck senselessly until the end of time if I don't stop. So I'm gonna do that because I'm pretty sure that this video is already long enough. You guys know that you're here for the long videos, because I always make long videos. And the second deck that I'm going to show you is the Archania Tarot by Herculion and or Mas Jojo. Why do I feel like this deck was made for me? Well, because this deck is very homoerotic. Or I think that in my case, it's not erotic enough. I think that this deck is inordinately elegant, and I just love the art. This is also very it feels like it's anime, but it isn't. I mean, look at the burly men. Oh, this is the 6 of Cups, guys. Yeah, I'll take flowers from this guy anytime. Here's the very dapper Emperor card. I use this as a screensaver on my phone. And here, oh, I mean, guys, come on. These men are all very sexually attractive. And I'm actually grateful that this deck is not overtly erotic. Because it would be too distracting. I wish that somebody would make a deck that is erotic and hopefully doesn't distract me so that I can read with it. But this is almost that deck. Almost that deck. Because I feel like this should have been taken to another level of nudity. I'm not saying that we should be seeing a lot of sexual scenes or sexual interactions, which I wouldn't be opposed to. But I think that this deck should have at least have nudity on it. But I mean, look at this Queen of Wands. Oh, isn't she just majestic? She looks like a butterfly, and oh God, it's just so good. It's so good. There's another one of those burly men in the Eight of Wands. I love this. Love this deck. It was made for me because I kept asking the universe and the powers that be for a deck that would be erotic without being distracting, and this is almost, like I said, that deck. So I feel like this was made for me. But I very much enjoy this. I mean, look at the merman, guys. Come on. Aren't they just yummy? Yeah. But as in any case, this is the Archania Tarot by Herculion. And off to the last prompt, and let's see, it says last prompt, one deck I cannot stop talking about. Okay, well, the deck that I cannot stop talking about right now, it's a Spirit Keeper's Tarot. I'm planning on doing, or maybe I already did them. Not really sure the timeline with these videos. I'm very fickle with that. But I'm planning on doing 3 different videos for this deck, and it deserves it. But here it is. This is the Spirit Keeper's Tarot by the amazing Benabel Wen. And I just can't stop talking about it. I used it in 2 seasonal periods, along with the I Ching Oracle, and it was just incredibly precise, incredibly insightful, and I enjoyed myself very much, especially reading about the cards and reading the Book of Maps, because the amount of history, the amount of information, and the amount of knowledge, culture, the symbology, I learned so much from this deck, and I am incredibly thankful for that. I just very much enjoy this. Very, very much enjoy this. I feel like this deck was made for people who actually practice a more magical belief. Benabel actually does talk about that on the Book of Maps as well. But for me, who I am such a information-driven and studious person, this deck is probably the peak of my studies and the enjoyment of the studies for this deck, because every single thing in these cards is explained in the guidebook, and thoroughly, or maybe too thoroughly at points, but I am so grateful that Benabel did that, and I can't shut up about this deck. I think this is going to be those decks that I'm going to use annually, along with the Shadowscapes and the Mariel and the call cards, because it's just so full of such rich information and such minute detail about everything, and it carries mythology from different cultures, and it has ancient cultures here too, that are less known to us and less known to practitioners of tarot and magic and the occult. It's a very inspiring deck. It's the amount of work that was put into this deck is, I have, the only other one that I know that has done it is Sia Hunt as well. And I show you guys 2 of her decks, and I have all 3 of them. So yeah, I cannot say enough about this deck. I'll probably keep talking about this deck on my channel forever and ever. So you're probably gonna see it even more. I can't help it, guys. It's really good. It's very purposeful, and it's very, I want to say serious as well, but serious in a fun way for me, at least. But yeah, the enjoyment of this deck for me, through the roof. Very much enjoy this. Very, very, very much enjoy this. But yeah, guys, there it is. That's the hashtag for today. So I had a lot of fun doing this, because I didn't think that I had a lot to say about the tarots that I have, and especially with these really wonderful prompts. It just lends itself for me to give information that I usually wouldn't give. I think that's why I like doing hashtags, because I'm giving you guys tidbits of my own my opinion without having planned anything, because I usually plan things that I'm going to say with to you guys. I mean, I do have the my planner over here, and I do I don't script anything out per se, but I do write the most important things that I want to tell you guys. And doing these sorts of videos allows me to be a more sincere person with you guys. I think that's the right word. Yeah, I think sincere is the right word. But yeah, no, guys, let me know in the comments below what decks you like for my collection, and or anything actually at all in the comments. I would love to chat with you guys. Very happy that I had the opportunity to encounter this tag, because I had no idea that it was going on, and I'm very thankful for that. But thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, YouTube. I'm gonna get my electrolytes. Maybe I can just fill this up. Yep, I did. It's so hot outside, guys. It's so hot. I don't know why people decided to come to the Sonoran Desert and reside here. It's well, I mean, why did I make that decision? It's way too late for existentialism. Definitely not happening right now. Okay. Platform and husband. Okay, thumbnail. These are a lot of decks. I guess I will use these for my thumbnail. Maybe I should censor myself.